Three, two, one. Blog Talk Radio.
Hey there, truckers. Welcome to Redneckanize, all things trucking and then some. Hope you enjoy the show.
Ride, concrete cowboy, ride. The open highway is your aim. 10-4, little buckaroo, and happy trails to you. Ride, concrete cowboy, ride. Now you're the bandit on the run, not a bad guy, just having fun. Still riding hard beneath those western skies. If there's an ambush up ahead and you see Smokey's lights flashing red, remember Trigger and me will be by your side. Ride, concrete cowboy, ride.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Appreciate everybody listening along. It's Monday, day after Thanksgiving, November 28th. We still got a couple of days of November left, so get ready for Christmas time is coming. I tell you what, I'm excited about it. I like Christmas. It's pretty cool. Get to spend time with family and just time to be in a happy mood. We need to be. You know what I mean? Give us a holler, 515-602-9731. Be part of the conversation. This is Redneckanize Radio, all things trucking and then some. We'd like to thank special thanks to our great sponsor, and that's Load to Ride Transportation. You can check them out at ltrtransportation.com. It's a great little trucking outfit out of Denver, Colorado. Appreciate everybody supporting us and supporting Redneckanize throughout the whole year. And we're planning on having another great year. Keep it on going. Truckers helping truckers. Let's see here. This is what we did here. We created a motto, or we came together as a small group of truckers that had an idea to share common sense knowledge of what it takes to be a do-it-yourself trucker. We also had the goal of educating the American public on how to operate safely around big trucks. And we did that on YouTube. If you go sign up to our YouTube channel, you can check that out. We got videos directed to the four-wheelers on how to drive around big trucks, space management, following distance, tailgating, making turns, getting on and off the freeway, all kind of stuff like that. So check it out. Like I said, our YouTube channel. We're also YouTube live right now. Check it out. YouTube is Redneckanize is the name of the YouTube channel. You can find links to all those social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at our website, redneckanize.com. Go check it out. And links to all of our sponsors too. We appreciate all their support. So appreciate everybody doing that. And let's see here. Let me start it. There we go. Get that going. And then how about that? Hey, good deal. So we're all YouTube live. I'm making sure that everybody can see me on YouTube. I appreciate everybody doing that and things. And then I'm on we're also on Blog Talk Radio. That's where you can call in. It's a call in radio show, 515-602-9731, talking about all things trucking and then some, and just life on the road or what's going on in the trucking news, and or anything else you want to talk about. It was a pretty good weekend for football. It's getting down to the wire. Actually, the college football is pretty interesting because we had the ACC. It's set that Clemson and North Carolina are going to play each other next week for the ACC championship. They both lost this weekend. So it pretty much just knocks them completely out of any kind of chance of going into the 4-team playoff. We see that TCU is set to play Kansas State for the Big 12 championship. TCU is in if they win out. If they win out, TCU should be one of the top seeds for the number 4 slots. And then we got Georgia is probably the team to beat. And then Michigan, they won against Ohio State, and they'll I think they're going to play again for the championship game, and then that'll be the Big Ten championship. And Michigan is pretty much set to win that, and they're going to be probably the number 2 seed. And then what did I see? The other team, SC, Southern Cal, and they're set to probably win they're set up to win their conference. I think they haven't switched over to the Big Ten yet. I'm not real sure. I haven't quite close attention, just, whatever they got on while you're watching the game. You know how they do that in between the deal. I just like watching football. Football's fun to watch. I like the chess match between it. every now and then. I'm killing it on fantasy football. I've got a bunch of players that are pretty good, and they've just been having good weeks. And that's all it is to it. You can have great players. You can have a whole lineup of great players, and they can just all have bad days, and then you not do anything. That's why I think DraftKings has such a good revenue stream of money, because people probably pay a lot of money to get the really good players, and then those players just don't pan out. They don't have good weeks, and then you don't win. The winning thing is that you get the most points. Well, not all the good players are going to get you the most points. Tony Romo was one of those. He wasn't really that good of a player, but he was great for fantasy football because he got points. But I mean, he hardly ever won. And that's what it is. It's not about winning, it's about points. So, and that's what gets you to win. But anyway, so as the intro music was playing and everything like that, I looked up and it didn't have much time left. So on Blog Talk Radio, I forgot to set it up as a 60-minute show instead of, it said just a 15-minute show. So in between our little breaks and talks or whatever, I'm probably going to end it and start a new show. So if you're on Blog Talk, that's the way that's going to work. But we'll just keep rocking and rolling on YouTube, though. YouTube shouldn't have any delays or anything messed up on that, because that's just the way it is, how we can keep it going. So stay on YouTube, and we'll talk about some things. One of the things that I saw in the news, actually I looked it up, and Bloomberg, the Bloomberg.com, which they also have a news channel that I don't think anybody watches or anything, but they made an article today. It came out earlier today, probably about this morning, and it says the Uberization of U.S. trucking is only speeding up. Freight brokers shift to online platforms to lower costs. Uber Freight and Convoy battle legacy firms for market share. And as I was reading the article, and what we've always said here is that these big companies, man, they are just raking in the money, because what they're doing is they're booking the customers. They're going to the customers and they're getting the contract saying, we'll handle all your freight. And then we know they can't handle it because like even the article says, like Uber and a lot of these other online brokerage firms, they don't own any trucks. So they don't have to worry. They can't deliver any freight. Okay. So they're relying on the owner operator. So really it's all about the truck driver. And what we're seeing is that the rates are low, not because of lack of freight. There is lack of freight. We see that because as the country is going to enter into a recession, we're going to see that the amount of freight available is going to go down. But because these online deals, I mean, these guys are sitting in their offices and they probably aren't really that keen on going out of business completely. They're not going to say just hawk everything to pay the rent on the office or whatever. They're not like these old brokerage firms where they're sitting there hoping that they can make bank just so they can buy water for their, water bottles or whatever. No, these are multi-million-dollar corporations, which means that if it goes through a year or two of a downturn, they're probably going to be all right. Just like it says here, they use the online platform because it's all done by computer and they can lower their costs, which means that when they make good money, they put that aside for the bad times. Okay. This is what we got to learn as truck drivers. We got to learn to put it away for bad times. And we got to learn that when the times are good, we got to get everything we can get. And what we're going to see now is when this freight cycle slows down, you have all of these companies, which there's a lot of them, and they're battling for market share. All they're going to do is undercut each other. They're going to undercut each other. And then what they're going to do to you is they're going to continue to drop the rates on you because they're still going to make their money. So all you got to do is you've got to be prepared. Either you're going to run it cheap or say no. And, if you've got a truck if you don't have a truck payment and you don't have any kind of big bills related to the truck, okay, man, go park that sucker. Wait for the rates to come back up. Go do something else. That's what I would say. I'm just a company driver right now, so I really can't, tell you what to do because I'm really not. But I'm telling you right now, as a company driver, even when freight's low, even when the freight slows down, I still make the same amount of money. So when my trailer is half full or fully full, I make the same amount of money. Okay. The only time that I lose money is if they just tell me stay home, which is rare because they still need drivers. Okay, they still got to have drivers to do the job. There's not a self-driving truck. And also, put yourself in a priorities position to where you're the person that they go to. It's kind of like if you're an owner operator right now and you're running a regular route, let's say you got a regular route that you always run. Find out who's all running it, or get with the person that's in charge of booking that freight. If you're not already in charge of, if you are, then you should be doing this as a priority for yourself all the time anyway, is how do I put myself in a position to where I'm the one they call first? That's what you got to do. So it's all about you becoming the one they call first. So that means if they've only got 3 loads for the day, how do you guarantee that you're one of the 3? If there are 10 guys wanting freight, then how do you guarantee that you're one of the 3 out of the 10? And that way you've got work. And it may be that you've got to take a little less, and that's up to you. If you don't want to take less, then, but when you get down to it, if you take less than what you owe, then you're going to be out of business. We know that. So we'll get in that article a little bit as we go. It's coming around. I think we're getting, because of this last election cycle, we're not going to see much out of Congress to, hold back the administration to where they're going to be able to let us, bring down energy costs where we can afford to do stuff. And then, the administration, in my opinion, is not really sticking up for the U.S. to other countries. These other countries are going to continue to do whatever they want to do when it comes to supply chain. Right now, China is even doing more to enforce their lockdowns, which means that they're not shipping out stuff. Their supply chain, part of their link to the supply chain across the world, it's non-existent in China pretty much. They're doing the bare minimum because they know, they're sitting in their cool little offices up there in the Communist Party saying, hey, we're going to be all right. We get all our stuff right here. We don't have to import anything. Everything is made right here that we need. So if you're sitting there, relying on stuff to be imported, and then these countries, they don't have to import, so then next thing you know, you're kind of out of it when it comes to that. So yeah. So let's check that out. Like I said, we'll dive into the article a little bit and see where it's going on like that. And I'll continue to restart this and we'll see where we all stand on that. And we'll find some Christmas music here a little bit. Let me do that now. Y'all love my Christmas music choices here because it's all country Christmas, because that's what it's all about. Because that's all I type in when I look for Christmas music. It's pretty much just always country Christmas. And they got playlists and they got albums, podcast. Oh, that's weird. Nah, I can't with it. That's good. Not the one I wanted. Got to get a little more technical.
Ninety seconds.
See that right there? That's what we got to do. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to restart this episode here on the Blog Talk Radio. So call in 515-602-9731 when I get it done. And we're still on YouTube live here. Yep, everything's good to go on that. So just rocking along here. Redneckanize Radio. We'll see you in a second.
60 seconds.
By now in New York City, there's snow on the ground.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And out in California, the sunshine's falling down. And maybe down in Memphis, Graceland's all in lights. And in Atlanta, Georgia, there's peace on earth tonight. Christmas in Dixie, it's snowing in the pines. Christmas from Dixie to everyone tonight. It's windy in Chicago. The kids are out of school. There's magic in Motown. The city's on the move. In Jackson, Mississippi, to Charlotte, Carolina, all across the nation. It's a peaceful Christmas time. Christmas in Dixie, it's snowing in the pines. Merry Christmas from Dixie to everyone tonight. And from Fort Payne, Alabama, Merry Christmas tonight. Smiling faces on city streets, crowded shoppers and busy feet, and every smile just seems to say we're having some happy holidays. Twinkling lights on Christmas trees, kids up on old Santa's knee, and busy lines on telephones, sending a Merry Christmas home. Bells are ringing everywhere, season spirits in the air, up and down the avenue. Holiday dreams are coming true, a choir singing songs of cheer, carols we all love to hear, and Rudolph with his glowing nose, and lovers under mistletoe.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Welcome back. It's Monday, the day after Thanksgiving. It's still November, though. We still got a couple days in November. See, it's 20th. So the first won't be till like Thursday, and so that's when December starts. So we still got 3 days left in November, and I don't know, down here in South Texas, weather's pretty nice. We had some rain, but now it's cleared out, so we're looking forward to having some nice weather. We got a ride going over to, we do every Thursday, the first of the month, every first Thursday of the month, we do a little special ride for all the motorcycles out here in the Harley-Davidson area, Corpus Christi, Harley-Davidson. So plan on doing that. And then there's a Toys for Tots run this Sunday, going to be across the bay. So if you're in the area, come check it out. It's pretty cool. We run from the university, which is on one side of the bay, all the way downtown, pretty much just half the whole bayfront area right there. It's pretty exciting. And it's a lot of bikes turn out, and we have a big turnout of people, raise a lot of money, bring in a lot of toys. So it's very exciting. So come check that out. Like I said, it'll be at Corpus Christi on Sunday, December 4th. So check that out and have a great time. So before we get going again here, I had to go restart the radio show, so nobody can call in right now for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to have to wing it a little bit, but that way we can talk about some things. You know, like I said, we started up this organization here. We did it as a tribute to, you know, the the owner operator truck driver. And basically what we wanted to do was create a place where truck drivers can come share their knowledge with each other, and also talk about, like, the common sense stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in books. There's a lot of stuff that, like, educational videos and all that stuff like that. But we're talking about just life on the road, and just handling problems as they come around, and just what to do, in situations. And we talk about how to be better. And that's kind of what we talk about here, is that we as an industry, we need to be better. We need to stop, like, parking on the fuel island. We need to stop with the, leaving the trash outside the trash can. If they overflow, we need to do something about it. We need to say, hey, let's tell somebody. I make it a point, if I go to a truck stop and I see a problem, I make a point to tell somebody that works there. And I tell them, I was like, I don't know if you know or not. If you do know, then you suck. But if you don't, now you do. And you can do something about it. So that's kind of the deal I'm talking about, is that, they can't really fix an issue with the restrooms if they don't know about it. So if you go into a truck stop late at night, you see that there's probably 3 women working behind the counter or fixing food or whatever. And you go into the men's room and there's a problem, like maybe there's no toilet paper, or, there's a leak somewhere, or somebody spilled something or whatever. They don't know. They don't go in that restroom, except if they have to. And of course, there's a lot of places that have these little, we need to check it every hour. I mean, come on, how many people actually do that? You know what I mean? So just let them know. Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes it just happened. Just maybe the leak or the accident or something, maybe it just happened in the last 15 minutes and they had already been in there, 20 minutes ago. So, that kind of thing is, we got to do better to help out the truck stops, but also they should be doing better to help us. And so we should be pointing out when they screw up and when they don't do right. Just like food and restaurants, we see it all the time where the restaurants get closed down. Well, we need to voice our opinion on that. So if you go to a truck show, like, especially if you go to the Louisville truck show, their mats, they call it. If you go there, Pilot, TA, all of them are there. They're giving out free coffee, they're giving out free points, they're giving out free gloves or whatever. And everybody loves to get that stuff. But then when it says, what else is going on? You don't really take the time to point out what they need to fix. And I take the time to do that. Sometimes I'll go in there with a piece of paper and a list. And, they hate me when I go in there and do that, because they don't like to be told what they're screwing up, because they say they get told all the time. Well, if you get told all the time, then you'd fix it. So if you get told all the time and you're not fixing it, that makes you even worse. Okay. So don't even say that, and then they talk about, well, we can't keep the restaurants open. I knew that a lot of places back in the day, they kept the restaurants open, even if it cost them money. So we know that restaurants can be kept open, and maybe it's because you're charging too much for the food. Maybe it's because there's too many alternatives. Maybe you should be, upping the ante with what you're serving or whatever. There's situations where you got to come up with something to keep the restaurant open, to keep more people in there. I mean, we make fun of it all the time. It's like, everywhere you go now, there's a Subway. Well, hell, I can make a sandwich in my truck. Why do I need to go to a Subway? I want a place where I can get something hot to eat, that's a good food to sit down. I didn't really like going to buffets. A lot of people like going to the buffets. A lot of these truck stops, they always had buffets. I didn't like doing that. If I'm going to go sit down and pay for something, I want them to bring it to me. I don't want to have to get up for anything, that kind of stuff. So, voice your opinions. And that's what we always say here, is voice your opinions. Let everybody know what you think. Let us know what you think. Make sure you tell them, because they don't know. You sit in that truck talking amongst each other or whatever, they don't know. They don't know what's going through your head. They don't know how to fix anything, because, they're sitting there, little ivory towers, just collecting their money that you're spending because you're not saying anything. So you got to let them know. And kind of what here at Redneckanize is, we try to do that. We try to do everything we can to let people know what's going on and how things are doing out there. There's a couple of places giving out free food. We mentioned that. There's every time there's going to be a highway shut down, like right now, you're going to have to avoid Interstate 40 there in that side of North Carolina, because of what is it, on the west side of North Carolina there, going through the gorge. Interstate 40 is going to be shut down, so you're going to have to go around, and that's not going to be fun. So that kind of stuff, got to get ready for. Let's see what else we got going on here. Just checking things out. Getting back to it. we had a good day off. I had a good weekend. We didn't do a show Thursday or Friday, so we were off. Wednesday we did a show, and then we were off until today. So we're coming back here to doing a show, and we appreciate everybody's support on doing that stuff and getting back to it. We don't really know what else we're going to be doing come around the first of the year. We just know that we're working on trying to get to, some local smaller events that we can get to. I liked when I went to the Texas Truck Show in Houston. That was pretty fun. I want to try to get back to that one. I think that's around in July. So it was pretty fun. There's not a lot of things to do there out in the parking lot areas like that and everything. So, I might make a few phone calls, send a few emails, and see what there might be lined up, and see maybe we can try to do something for all the truck drivers that show up out there. I know we have a lot of fun with the show. They actually have trucks, lots, and that's probably the main event is the big trucks. The booths aren't really the deal. It's the trucks that are sitting there inside. And at the end of the show, if you want to hang out, there's nobody really telling you can't stay, but they take the trucks out and they crank them up, and it makes a big to do and everything. And I was kind of telling them, I said, dude, if they're thinking about not having this show again, well, you're just making it easy for them not to have it. And you got to watch out for that stuff. We all think it's fun and dandy, but people that have to clean up or keep track of that stuff, they don't like it. So you got to watch out for that. But yeah, there's lots of shows that come out, and during the year, we're going to try to get to as many of them as we can. We don't like going to the big shows no more, because the big shows, all they want is money, and they won't even let us do our little thing to help the drivers. They want us to spend a lot of money, and then they won't let us do what we want to do. So we're not doing that no more. But you could check that out. Like I said, that's redneckanize.com. Anytime we come up with something, we'll update you on there. And I'm just trying to keep tabs on how everything's doing out there. But we'll get signed back on here. I'm going to talk about the article that was in Bloomberg on Bloomberg.com earlier today. And that'll be what we'll be talking about here in the next couple of minutes. So let's fire this back up. There we go. And we'll hang tight here in a second. It's Redneckanize Radio.
Come on, weatherman, give us a forecast, snowy white. Can't you hear the prayers of every childlike heart tonight? The Rockies are calling, Denver snow falling. Somebody said it's 4 feet deep, but it doesn't matter. Give me the laughter. I'm gonna choose to keep another tender Tennessee Christmas, the only Christmas for me, where the love circles around us like the gills beneath our tree. Well, I know there's more snow up in Colorado than my roof will ever see, but a tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas for me. Every now and then I get a wandering urge to see maybe California, maybe tinsel towns for me. There's a parade that we have it made that bring home a tan for New Year's Eve. It sure sounds exciting, awfully inviting. Still, I think I'm gonna keep another tender Tennessee Christmas. It's the only Christmas for me.
start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions, press 2.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, truckers. Welcome to Redneckanize, all things trucking and then some. Hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Welcome back. We had to start a new show, but we're still on YouTube Live, so that's been going strong here and ain't stopped. So we started that right at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then we messed up on the Blog Talk Radio. We had to restart that, so that's back up and going again. And we're back now, so we're going to get started on it. So go ahead and give us a holler, 515-602-9731. Be part of the conversation, just hit 1. We appreciate everybody doing that. And one of our great sponsors, and that's DPF Regeneration. So go check them out at dpfregeneration.com. Great little company out there that supplies all the parts that you need for all of that extra, if you got a particulate filter or EGR cooler or EGR valve and you need help doing all that stuff, you can give them a holler at go ahead and dpfregeneration.com. They got it all over there, the parts, the know-how, the technology, and just experience. That's what you look for in that kind of technology if you're not too familiar with it. So go check them out, dpfregeneration.com. So let's get started on here. I wanted to talk about this little article that we had here just a minute ago. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, here we go. Hey, who's this?
I don't know.
There you go. So yeah, I was.
What's going on, Ed?
Now, man, I had to restart the deal. I did what Tiffany does. I put the 15 minutes instead of hour.
Way to go! Have you been drinking tonight?
What's that now?
Have you been drinking tonight?
No. I was in the groove and just real fast, just did it all. So I did it that way where it was really silly. So So are you backed over the road? What you got going on? Because I'm looking over here and everybody's talking about the freight slowing down and the rates going down and everything like that. So,
rates are really trash right now, man. It's
yeah,
it's not funny right now.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I was suspecting.
Some of these shippers and brokers and whoever makes the contracts on, I'll get a truck for that, to get a truck for that, thinking that they were back in the 1990s or something,
right? That
we can haul this stuff. But
well, that's kind of what this article I found. It's on Bloomberg.com, which is one of those. It's kind of like Fox News, kind of like CNN. Big deal here. And it says the Uberization of trucking is only speeding up. Freight brokers shift to online platforms to lower cost. Uber Freight and Convoy battle legacy firms for market share. So, I mean, we know it's coming. It's that things have been slowing down, but it seems that it's going to probably slow down even further. Like the rates are going to drop even further as these companies are battling for market share. They're these big companies. They're trying to get control of this stuff, and we know what they do is they just book the freight. They don't even ask how much it's paying, how much it weighs, and all that. They just book it, and then let us worry about all that stuff.
Yeah, they book it and put a number in, and hopefully a driver picks it.
Right, because like Uber, I remember when Uber first started, they were at the truck show. It was so funny because they were like, well, see, it's just like Uber. Like if you were working for Uber doing a car, we send out a ping, and you'll get a ping saying there's a load down the street for you, and you just hit select, and you just take it and you just go. I said, that's not how it works at all. I said, what if it needs a flatbed? What if it needs tie downs? What if it's liquid and the driver can't haul liquids? What if it's too heavy and all that? And they're like, well, I mean, that's factored in. It's like, no, it's not. You don't have no idea.
No idea.
No
They
idea.
have no idea what it takes to run an oversized, especially the trailer I'm pulling right now,
Right.
which I don't have my flatbed no more, which I kind of kicking myself in the butt right now, just the way the rates are going, of selling it. But, the trailer I have a low boy,
Yeah.
40-ton low boy. It's a specialized trailer. It's specialized freight. There's permits involved. There's overweight involved. There's I had a load cancel. It was a week and a half ago now. I ordered $450 worth of permits, and the load canceled on me. And I'm gracious that the company I'm leased to, they were able to. Well, since it canceled, we'll cover the permits for you. Don't worry about the permits. So I didn't get charged for the permits, which is nice. But just $450. Who has $450 just to seek in the permits?
Yeah. No kidding.
Not a whole lot of people.
Yeah. Well,
There's a lot of people that are soaking in by paycheck to paycheck.
it is.
If they're not making the miles for the week or the gross revenue for the week, they're kind of sitting ducks.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the funny thing is these companies, they're just automating, they're automating all of their stuff, like with the computers and online technology and everything. And then they're not cutting in their deals. They're keeping their share, and they're telling you there's not, there's not much in it, which, and what I was saying here earlier is that when freight dies down, like it could really get really bad here this next 6 months, and even worse, maybe the 6 months after that. These companies, they got money in the bank. They got some kind of deal set aside where they're not going to go away. So when you got all these companies and they're really in no business, like we thought Uber Freight has not turned a profit, and we thought Uber Freight was going to die, and all of a sudden they bought Transplace for $2.25 billion. So, we thought that, and so there's somebody out there investing money into these companies thinking they're going to make money when they're not really making money, but they're not going away. So all they're doing is continually bringing the price of freight down because they're just trying to undercut everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And they're not going out of business. So, and then you got JB Hunt and Werner and all these others. I mean, I know Werner has its own app and JB Hunt has its own app now. And, everybody wants to go to the app and drivers like that. I mean, I liked it because I didn't want to have to talk to nobody and all that. But the problem is that when it came down to trying to find the right load, they don't put the correct amounts. They don't put the correct weight. They don't even put the correct destination down when they put the stuff in the computer.
No, they put like a major city. And I've ran into a couple places where it's been like 200 miles away. It's like, really? This ain't where I'm going.
No, I can't.
That's not profitable.
Yeah, exactly.
How am I supposed to make a profit?
Yep. And
if I wanted to make 20 cents, 30 cents a mile, I might as well go work for one of the big box stores.
Yeah, no kidding. This article here, it doesn't really break down what it does here. It says that these brokers build capacity in the fragmented industry by signing up as many as 2 million U.S. freighters as they can. These carriers are mostly small, with half of them being just one truck operations. Less than 6,000 carriers own more than 100 trucks. So you're talking about 2 million carriers listed, I guess, in the database or whatever. Half of them are one truck operations. So that's 1 million right there. So then you say 6,000 carriers are more than 100 trucks. So you're talking about, hundreds of thousands of carriers that have 20, 30, 10 trucks. And I said that before, if you're a company driver working for those smaller carriers, man, one bad slip up and they're toast. One bad, and if you don't get good freight from these carriers that only got 10, 20 trucks, then the whole company could go out of business.
Oh yeah.
So it says the automation technology removes labor by providing a computer application for truckers to find freight and accept the price for hauling it. There's still a lot of paperwork used in the industry, but services including TransFlow are bridging the transition by allowing drivers to scan trip documents at truck stop kiosks to digitize the paperwork for fleet owners. So I was able to use the app. I mean, TransFlow, if anybody out there knows TransFlow has it on your phone. You don't even need to go to the truck stop to scan your documents. But what they say is the big cost of it. So like the guy that they interviewed for this article, he owns a startup trucking broker company. It says here, where did it have that at? I read it here. It was it's there. It says that it's Brett Suma, Chief Executive Officer. Oh, who's that? Somebody calling me. Oh, well. So it says Brett Suma, Chief Executive Officer of Loadsmith, a startup founded in 2019 that's projected to generate sales of $130 million this year and turn a profit. When Suma started his career in the trucking industry a couple of decades ago, his job was to open up packets of paperwork delivered by couriers to log the deliveries made by drivers. He worked at that time for Knight Swift Transportation Holding Company, which 2 decades ago, he was either working for Knight or he worked for Swift because they hadn't merged yet. So, and he says now the company, he goes, now the company he runs is trying to eliminate all that paper. And he's talking about technology, just doing away with it. And I don't think paper or any, like even TransFlow, I bet you TransFlow is probably still a considerable cost given that they have an app to keep up with. I don't know, but
I use TransFlow and it cost me $225 to scan in my documents.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So,
but it's that's at that point it's just a cost of doing business. If you want your bills sent in, you want to get paid. Yeah, you'll pay that $225 if it's a $4, $5, $6, $8, $10,000 load. You're gonna pay that $225. That $225 is just pennies on the dollar.
Exactly. It's all about that. I mean, it's not about anything else than just it's in its speed. A lot of places, a lot of different carriers offer that as soon as we scan as soon as we receive your scanned documents, we'll pay you. That kind of thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Within a couple hours, you get paid, and that's how I get paid. And within if I have my stuff in by 2:00 Central Time, I get paid that day.
Right.
And it's normally within a couple hours I get paid.
Yep. And I mean, I don't know why I guess they included that in their deal because that's probably the biggest cost that brokers have is paying for their way to get their documents done or whatever. But I don't see that as a big major cost. What I do see is they don't even mention it in here. I tried to read on with this here to try to find out, it's really all it is every single company is trying to get all these trucks. I mean, most of these companies are talking about Uber Freight, Convoy, the guy here they're talking with C.H. Robinson is one of them. RXO, I don't really remember.
Cheap and heavy.
Exactly.
That's what I call them.
Exactly. Cheap and heavy. And then this new guy here starting up with Loadsmith. All of them they don't own a single truck. You got JB Hunt and Werner, but their entities are different. So like JB Hunt Transport Services, they book freight. They don't necessarily have JB Hunt trucks run that freight. They try to broker it out because a lot of times when they book the freight, it's way more than they can handle. So they don't have the capacity to run the freight. They just book it. So
they just book it, and then if we can get one of our drivers to work on it or to run the load, we'll broker it out and we'll find somebody.
Yeah.
There's always somebody out there that will run I need to get here, I need to get there, and I'll run the freight.
Right. And that's kind of what we've been alluding to here on Redneckanize is that, they're making their money. So if you decide that, hey, I'm going to get, I'm like as a truck driver, you're going to have to decide as an owner operator, especially, are you going to take less money? You're going to tell them no. If you tell them no, you might not make anything, but guess what? You're going to make your money. You need to get out there and make your money. But what I said here earlier in the show is that if freight does slow down, and let's say there is a company out there and they're shipping 10 loads a day and you're one of the 10, and there's 10 trucks hauling 10 loads a day, and they go down to 3 loads a day, how do you make sure that you're the third, one of the 3 trucks that they call first? It's like, how do I make sure I'm the one they call first? So that kind of thing you have to do, whether you have to maybe take a little less money, maybe you got to work when everybody else doesn't want to work. Maybe you got to do that. So it's all about that kind of thing. And I could see owner operators making good money, but doing other things, like maybe, willing to haul the heavy freight, maybe willing to work the night, the night nobody else wants to work. Maybe it's like they always ship out on Friday and they always have a hard time covering that freight shipping out on Friday because nobody wants to run on Friday. It's like, well, if you always want to run on Friday, or if you're willing to do that on Friday, you just tell them, I'm running on Friday because I want to run every day. And you call me every day, I'll be here every day. And that way they always call you. But, if you're going to sit there and say, I ain't hauling that, then they're not going to call you. That's the bottom line. If they're paying good, then you need to work, basically.
Well, if they're paying good, you're gonna every beck and call. We need to slow. All right, I'll get it covered.
There you go. Yeah, and
count on me.
Yep. And I see out there where, and what we got to do. I tell you what, I'm really, really upset about it. And I actually was at church a couple of weeks ago, and I talked to the pastor about how we're in a free market system, and that free market system operates on a certain set of values where we need to be able to trust each other. And when you have agents and brokers out there giving you false information about where it's going or how much it weighs or what time it's picking up and what it pays, you book the load paying a certain amount, then they call you 20 minutes later and they say, well, it's not paying that much. It's only paying us so much. And then what they try to do is say, well, I can only pay you this much, but I can give you another 200 in fuel surcharge. They're still paying you less. And then because you're trying to be a better person, are saying, yeah, I said I'd haul it, I'll haul it. And what it boils down to is that their low morality is hooking you into making less money. And we just got to stop putting up with that. It's that their lack of morality and lack of honesty just ought to get them booted out of the business forever. We just can't do that in this society, especially in trucking.
In this industry now, that ain't gonna happen. It's just like the shutdown
Right.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Ain't gonna get with the millions and billions of drivers that we do have out here. They're not gonna all shut down, or they're not all gonna say no for cheap freight. There's always guys out there. Oh, I'll run that. I'll run that. And that's why the rates keep going down and down and down and down and down.
Exactly.
They ain't gonna come back up anytime soon.
Yep. And I had a little talk with some other people about that, about like negotiating and whether or not negotiating is a moral thing. Whether are we doing the right thing by saying, that I don't want to pay that much. I want to pay less money. Yeah, but do you want to pay less? Are you willing to pay less money? Like what it is that you want to pay less, but are you willing to lie for it? You're not going to lie to the guy to pay less money. You're going to tell the truth. Like, this load is heavy, but I can only afford to do it for this much. And it might be a pretty good amount, but the guy's, he's wanting to charge more because it's heavy. Well, you can, and if you find that mark to where he's willing to do it and you're willing to do it at a certain point, then everybody's happy. The problem is when you tell the guy it only weighs 15,000 pounds to get him to take it for less money. And then when he gets there, it's more. Well, that's not right. So it's one of those things that it's not about whether or not you're going to try to get the driver to haul freight for less money, or if you're a driver trying to haul freight for more money. It's you got to pay your bills. I had a time where a company owner, he needed a trailer moved, and he goes, that trailer in Dallas, man, can you bring it to Little Rock? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And he said, well, how much would you do it for? And of course, at that time, I'm like, new to the whole owner-op thing. And I think I quoted him like, $700 or whatever like that. And he said, listen, I know you're new to this, but I'm going to tell you, you cover your bills. You give me a number and I'll let you know whether or not that I can do that or not. So it's like, you just got to know your numbers, and you got to say, hey, this is how much I'll do it for. If they say yes, then you don't shoot yourself in the foot saying you could have gotten more. I mean, you could have gotten more, but you got to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers that well enough to know that, or know the rates or whatever.
There's a lot of guys that don't know the numbers.
Right. And that, they don't know what's
You gotta sit down and take a little time, and it might take you 15 minutes to figure it out, or it might take you a couple hours. But you got to know what your bottom line, what it takes to make you move that truck. Your maintenance, your insurances, your fuel. You got to know what your bottom line is. But there's a lot of guys that don't know that bottom line, and then just take whatever they can. Oh, it's paying, it's paying $250 a mile. I can make money on that. Well, it costs them $235 to move that truck. Well, they're not making nothing on that load. They're pretty much covering their fuel.
Right.
At 15 cents or 20 cents a mile that they're making on it, you might have to go work for a company making 40, 50, 60. It's a good going rate as making 50 cents a mile at any carrier right now.
Right there. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Back when I first started, it was 15 cents a mile that I was getting paid. I thought I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing good.
No kidding.
No, yeah. I was doing in this day and age. How are you supposed to pay your bills at 15 cents a mile? A lot of guys don't realize that most of these drivers that have been out here a while, a good 5, 10 plus years, that's what they started out as, and they ran their living butt off just to make a paycheck.
Yeah.
And they still they run their living butt off to make a paycheck. And then there's other guys that it is what it is.
I'm telling you. Yeah, it's amazing how it has changed so much. And I guess, when I first got into the business, a lot of truck drivers said it's changed so much. And I'm like, it's changed in the last probably 100 years, massively changed, compared to where it was as far as money and everything else. But also just with regulations and just, different stuff like that. I remember OIDA when I first heard about OIDA, they said, we're fighting for the truck driver. And it seems like there's more regulations now than there were when I first heard about OIDA. It's crazy.
There's so many regulations that we got to go by, and rules and this and that and the other thing that, some people are like, how do you do it? Just one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
One load at a time. Getting this much off of this. Well, at least I get to eat this week, or I got food on the table. At least I have a house at home. My wife has a house. My kids have a house. Whatever the case may be.
Right.
Everyone's on a case by case basis.
Yeah. You're talking about millions of dollars here that these companies are throwing at it. It says that guy Suma, he projects that Loadsmith will generate $8 million of earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation for all of this year, and plans to fund expansions with its own cash. The company expects sales growth to slow down next year amid the downturn in freight demand. The company will pursue an acquisition at the end of the year, beginning of 2024, to catch up with upswing in the freight cycle. So it means they're probably going to try to buy out one of the smaller companies so that they can, get some more market share. And that's pretty much all it is. And, I don't know. It's just like even XPO Logistics, you see a lot of these trucking companies, they've got trucks. They're just booking the freight more than they have trucks. They don't have the trucks to handle all the freight that they're doing. And I wish that these articles, there's a way to send this guy a message or something. I remember one of them, it's these mainstream. I don't know if they know or not or care or whatever, but they need to understand that it's a global thing where they're coming in here and they're just scooping up all the freight. They can't cover the freight. They're just selling it. They're selling it to somebody else. It's just like the whole, remember what they talked about with the housing market crisis? I don't know if you ever seen any of those movies, but what it was that because people were buying houses in the 70s, the houses were being bought and they were getting financed by these banks. Well, then these loans, their payments are being made because people like buying houses and like to make their payments on their houses. They were very responsible, so they're making their payments. Well, what these banks would do is they would sell the loans to other banks, and those banks the lien holder would change, or the bank, would the note would transfer, and they would be continuing to sell them. And because these loans were such in good shape, because the people were making their payments, nobody worried. But then when the government started saying, hey, why don't we start giving loans to these low income people, because owning a home is American dream, and the bank, the people couldn't make the payments. So then they started being worth nothing. So that's what's happening now, is that these companies have swooped up all this freight, and then they can't cover it. So then they've got to sell it. And pretty much when they sell it, it's like it's either going to be worthless or worth way more than it was. It's not the same. So as a customer,
yeah, they're not making they're not making any profit off of it,
right?
Because I deal a lot with brokers.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't doubt that it gets changed like 3 or 4 times from broker to broker, and then finally gets to a driver.
Yes, I agree with that. And like you're saying, and then by that time, the customer, the shipper, well, they don't know who booked that freight. So when you get told, hey, you can get there by 5 o'clock, and you get there at 4:30, and they're like, well, we stopped shipping out at 3, because 3 or 4 people, like you're saying, handled the load. So really the info between the shipper and the driver gets lost in translation somewhere. So I get that all the time. I see it more kind of, and with like, where to go, addresses, shipping, what do you call it? The destinations, appointment times, all that stuff gets screwed up.
If something gets screwed up somewhere.
Yeah. And it's just like you're saying, just because it changes hands so often, and there's no direct contact.
It just dawned on me. Did you see the Elon Musk of Tesla? They did a 500-mile test.
No, yeah, I saw that.
Made it
with a loaded trailer.
81,000 pounds.
Right. Yeah, I saw that on there, and it was so funny because it reminded me of so in this movie, the guy plays quarterback, and he's a really good quarterback, and he's kind of a jerk. And nobody can catch the ball that he's throwing because he's the better player, and everybody else is all like old and fat and everything. And so the one guy caught the ball, and they're like, hey, good catch. And he's like, good catch, my ass. That's what you're supposed to do when the ball hits you in the hands. So it's like, Tesla just completed a what is it? 500 miles it was, or whatever it was.
500 miles.
Yeah. And it's like, it completed
probably on flat ground.
Yeah.
And it was probably 70 degrees out.
Well,
60 degrees out.
Not only that, they probably had
dealing
about
with going over mountain passes, dealing with the snow, dealing with the wind.
Yep, they had about 30 technicians following it, making sure it didn't break down at all, and everything like that. And if it did, and everything. But it's so funny to me. It's kind of like, 500 miles pulling 81,000 pounds. I was like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do that every day.
Actually, at 81,000, where's his permit?
Right,
because that's 1,000 pounds over. Because 80,000 pounds is legal weight.
You know what they're probably going to do?
Where's his permit?
You know what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to give him special clearance.
90 seconds.
Because remember how they were giving people extra weight clearances for APUs? They're probably going to give electric trucks. Electric trucks can be heavier because of the batteries.
I've been reading comments on that, and one of them that sticks out in my head is, okay, the truck weighs more, and they're not going to be able to haul as much as we can haul. The majority of them can haul, depending on what your trailer is, anywhere from 40 to 48,000 pounds.
Right.
Per load, per truckload. So it all depends on, what your gross weight is. You're not going to be able to get, for the sounds of it, that truck is way heavier than a diesel powered truck, that it's not going to haul as much. So now you're calling out 2 trucks.
Yep.
Now it's going to cost you even more money.
Yeah. They got it all figured out, man.
No, yeah, okay. I think I'm better off telling these trees what to do than they are.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Yep, I agree, man. I tell you what, it's something else. It's so funny. So my uncle, he's a what is he used to be a draftsman. These are the guys that get trained in technical schools how to take the plans from the engineers and turn them into actual blueprints and all that. Okay. So he's got
those are even better.
So he didn't really go to a college like A&M or anything to be an engineer. He went to a technical school and learned how to be a draftsman, which he doesn't really create anything. He just copies stuff over and he actually works out the measurements and all that stuff like that. So after 20 years, he's in his office and he does his job, and these engineers come in there and a lot of them are brand new and all that. So the engineer writes up a bunch of technical stuff and he turns it into plans, and he takes it back to the engineer that's only been at the job for 6 months and says, "Oh, this is wrong and you change this." And the engineer's pissed. He's like, "Hey, I'm an engineer. You're just a draftsman. Don't even tell me how to do my job," like that. And he's like, "But it's wrong." So the engineer goes to his boss, which is the big engineer, the big dog, and all that, and says, "Hey, this draftsman telling me our stuff's wrong." And he looks at it and he says, "Well, it is wrong. You need to fix it." And he said, "Yeah, but I don't need that draftsman." He goes, "Well, the draftsman, he's been at it 20 years. He probably knows more about it than you do. So you need to shut up and listen to him." That kind of thing. So all these engineers and scientists and all that say, "We know how to haul freight. Don't tell us how to haul freight. It's all in the science. It's all about science hauling freight." And it's like, don't even ask the 20-year vet truck driver how to haul freight. We don't have to ask him. We know everything.
They don't know nothing.
They don't know a damn thing.
They're just a dumb truck driver.
Well,
it's like some of these shops, these kids that they're hiring, it's like, man, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I know how to work on my truck. You need to do it this way. Well, that's not how I was trained. Well, that's how I want it done on my truck.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way it is. It's the way it's going to be. And because the way they're trained is the way to cover the company's ass. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. They don't even care about service, providing you with good service on a good oil change. Like, how can we provide a good oil change at a reasonable price that won't get us sued? That's all they care about. So they
actually, I don't know. It's been probably 3-4 years since I've gone into a place to get my oil change done. But I don't know. I can't vouch for that on how good of a job they do or how bad of a job they do. Because my grandfather told me this: if you want to be able to own your own equipment, you need to learn how to work on it.
There you go. And
I've learned how to work on my own equipment, and I do all I can to a certain point. Rebuilding an engine, I imagine I can probably do it, but do I have the tools? No. So that's when you go in and paint it. But for replacing a light or replacing a mud flap, I see guys all the time, and I need this done. I need this light replaced. I need this mud flap put on. And, pretty much a common tool set in Walmart that's like $40-$50 that you can't replace a mud flap. Come on, man. It's only a little 4 volts and you can have it done in a matter of 10-15 minutes versus a couple hour wait or even a day in a truck stop. But they'd rather put it in the truck stop, and it costs them like 5 times as much as what the mud flap actually is.
Well, time to go to work.
It's getting pretty close to cutting the show off because you're about ready to go to work, huh?
Yep, getting there. Yep, it was good time, good week. So get back to it. Get ready for Christmas.
Oh, it was a good weekend too.
Yeah,
I can't thank Greg and Tiff enough for letting me stay up there over the weekend.
That's awesome.
I was with kind of friends and family kind of type deal, and Greg and Tiff and even you had become family, my second family, my trucking family. I was able to stay the weekend with them and have Thanksgiving with some good friends, and yeah, we drank a little bit, and I had to finish it off tonight. So
awesome deal, cool deal. Well, good deal, man. So yeah, we'll be at it tomorrow and the next day, and then I'm gonna be riding Thursday, so we might have a little short show, if no show at all. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just got to let everyone know that we're not having a show on Thursday if you're going out riding Thursday. Yep. And well, it's probably 70 degrees down there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I mean, today was kind of cool. It was in the high 60s, but tomorrow it's going to be like almost 80. So, yep.
Oh, that's a perfect bite weather right there.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Now we see why you like living down there.
Hell yeah, man. I love it down here. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Now, I can do without the wind, but hey, it's by the water, so it's going to get windy.
Yeah, that's power for the course.
There you go. Well, cool deal, man.
All right, have a good night. Safe travels tonight, man.
All right, bud. We'll see you tomorrow.
All righty.
All right, good deal. Sounds good. All right, good deal. Well, guys, I'm going to get out of here, get to work, and everybody have a great night tonight. And don't forget to, oops, don't do that. Wait a minute. Not ready yet. Got to, there it is. There it is. So don't forget to go subscribe to YouTube channel. That's YouTube is the name of the channel is Redneckanize. You can see all of our links to our social media is redneckanize.com is our website. And you can check out all of the links to our sponsors as well. One of the sponsors I like to thank is Trucker Tools, truckertools.com. That's the app you can download to book freight, track freight, even plan your route, get parking and fuel stops, truck stops, Walmarts, even if you need any kind of maintenance or wrecker issues. Truckertools.com, the app for truckers. We appreciate all their support at Redneckanize. So again, we're here, Redneckanize Radio live every Wednesday or every weekday. Every weekday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can give us a holler. It's 515-602-9731. And like I said, it's a call-in radio show. It's all things trucking and then some. So let us know what's on your mind, what you're thinking about, and what's going on in the trucking world. And we appreciate everybody's support out there. So this is Redneckanize Radio. And until we'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, stay successful, keep between the ditches, and we'll see you out there on the road.
I can find one to hold me tight, but I can never make believe it's right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. ICC is a checking on down the line. I'm a little overweight and my log's are way behind. But nothing bothers me tonight. I can dodge on the scales alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. My rig's a little low, but that don't mean she's slow. There's a flame from her stack and the smoke's rolling back as coal. My hometown's coming in sight. If you think I'm happy, alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
Today's truckers have a lot on their minds. Redneckanize was founded by truckers to help truckers and others to handle life on the road better. Check them out at redneckanize.com. When everything goes wrong,